It wasn't afraid of the heat, but above all, it loved the cold. It was reliable and resilient, hardworking and easygoing, smoothing out all the sharp edges with the smooth lines of its design. On the highway, this truck never lagged behind. But its true element was off-road dirt tracks, where it clung to the ground with all its wheels. This was the Tatra 138, the backbone of Czech automotive engineering and the tireless workhorse of vehicle fleets in many Eastern European socialist countries. While most people's backs bend under a heavy load, the Tatras, on the contrary, would straighten the splay of their wheels to proudly carry their cargo at yet another socialist construction site of the century. What was so special about these famous Czech trucks that made so many drivers love them? Where and in which fields was it hard to get by without this vehicle? And which main design advantage of the Tatra also turned out to be its main drawback? All these facts from the history of the legendary Tatra are in our upcoming story. And you, our dear friends, make yourselves comfortable, grab your favorite hot drink, and enjoy the video. Just relax, because today, taking on the work for you is a true monster of construction sites, the Tatra 138. And the story of this truck begins in the first post-war decade, when Czechoslovakia, like most Eastern European countries that suffered the most from the devastating consequences of World War II, needed a large number of trucks to rebuild its economy. The only heavy truck being built at the Kopernice plant at that time was the 3-axle, 10-ton Tatra 111, which had been developed back in the pre-war period by the famous Austrian automotive designer Hans Ledwinka, who worked as Tatra's chief engineer and designer for 16 years, from 1921 to 1937. It was during his career at this company that Ledwinka brought to life his revolutionary design concept of a car with a backbone frame, which for many decades to come became the foundation for all Tatra vehicles, both passenger cars and trucks. Everything in Ledwinka's life changed after the entry of Soviet troops into Czechoslovakia at the end of 1944. Accused of collaborating with the Nazis, which meant that the Czech factory produced weapons and equipment for the Wehrmacht, Hans Ledwinka and the former owner of Tatra, Baron Geringhofer, were arrested. In 1945, the factory in Kopernice was nationalized by the new Czechoslovak government and renamed Tatra Národní podnik, which means National Enterprise Tatra. The production of pre-war passenger cars and trucks continued there, including the heavy 3-axle Tatra 111 truck, which underwent significant modernization improvements. Significant changes in Tatra's production program occurred after the February coup of 1948, when the Czechoslovak Communist Party came to power and immediately began implementing typical Stalinist-style socialist reforms, including the complete nationalization of all enterprises, collectivization of land, the introduction of censorship, and a monopoly on power, which turned Czechoslovakia into an obedient satellite of the USSR. In 1952, the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, the governing body responsible for coordinating and planning the development of the state economies of the socialist bloc countries according to the division of specializations, assigned Tatra the priority task of producing trucks with a payload capacity of 7 to 10 tons. Meanwhile, the mass production of passenger vehicles was to be moved to the Skoda plant in Lada Boleslav. Work on developing new post-war trucks in Kopernice lasted for about 3 years. And already in 1955, the company unveiled its new models, the 7-ton 2-axle Tatra 137 and the heavier 12-ton 3-axle Tatra 138 truck. Although Hans Ledwinka was convicted for collaborating with the Nazis, his technical legacy was not abandoned. The new vehicle retained the backbone frame, independent suspension with swinging half-axles, and an air-cooled diesel engine. Structurally, it was still the same Tatra 111, but with significant technical improvements and a radically redesigned appearance. New features in the design included a power steering system, a pneumatic clutch booster, and a gearbox with electro-pneumatic control. Interestingly, the designer of the new truck models could still have been Ledwinka, whom ministry officials invited to return to the Tatra plant after he was released from prison in 1951. But the Austrian designer politely declined such a tempting offer and left Czechoslovakia for good, choosing Munich, Germany as his place of residence, where he died in 1967. In 1956, the newly created Tatra cars were officially presented at an auto show in the Czech city of Brno. And already in 1959, their mass production began. The 2-axle model didn't stay long on the assembly line in Kopernice and, according to a government directive, was transferred to the LIZ plant, which was supposed to handle the production of medium-duty trucks. So the main star of the Tatra plant remained the heavy 138 model, which in 1962 finally sent the well-worn, life-experienced old Tatra 111 into a well-deserved retirement. Overall, the new model retained the basic design elements of its predecessor, an air-cooled engine and a backbone frame with swinging half-axles. But there were also significant modernization improvements, including a new all-metal 3-seat cab designed by leading Czech industrial designers Zdeněk Kovar. It was characterized by a small, rounded, loaf-shaped hood with protruding rectangular fenders that blended into a single plane with the stamped protrusions on the vehicle's doors. A distinctive feature of the cab's design was a small, semicircular air intake grille with radiating vertical spokes. The truck's curved windshield was significantly slanted, and together with the small side and rear corner windows, provided the driver with good visibility. The Tatra 138 truck was built using a modular design, which made it easier to create modifications with different wheelbases. To do this, it was enough to replace a section of the backbone frame tube with another one of the required length. The 138 model was also available in a 2-axle version and with different wheel configurations: 4x2, 4x4, 6x4, 6x6, and 6x2. Based on the results of the tests, including those conducted in low-temperature conditions, certain improvements were made to the vehicle's design, such as heating the body with exhaust gases, improved cab thermal insulation, and an oil heater that operated independently of the engine. The Tatra 138 was equipped with a V-shaped 8-cylinder air-cooled diesel engine, the Tatra 928, with a displacement of 11.7 liters and a power output of 180 horsepower. Unlike the Tatra 111, the engine was more economical and was cooled by a single axial fan instead of two. The fan was driven by the engine's flywheel through a special hydraulic clutch, which regulated the fan's rotation speed depending on the engine temperature. Also, the valve timing mechanism included not 3 camshafts as in the previous model, but just 1. Overall, the Tatra 928 engine was highly maintainable. And this was all thanks to the cylinders, which could be removed individually rather than as a whole block. The crankshaft was also made to be disassemblable. The truck's gearbox was a 5-speed. A 2-speed splitter was also installed on the vehicle. Both gearboxes were paired together in the center of the truck near the middle axle. A small drive shaft connected them to the engine. To shift into lower gears, it was necessary to move the flag on the gear shift lever. The splitter, interaxle differential lock, and front axle engagement were all controlled by an electro-pneumatic actuator, which at that time was a novelty for the automotive industry in the socialist bloc countries. The vehicle has independent suspension. The front is torsion bar, the rear is leaf spring. The braking system is pneumatic and dual circuit. The main circuit braked all the wheels, while the backup circuit braked only the rear wheels. The new truck also received a large number of design improvements. The engine, together with the clutch, was mounted to the frame on rubber pads, which helped reduce noise and vibrations. The dual-disc clutch was equipped with a pneumatic actuator. The front axle with torsion bar suspension was complemented by hydraulic shock absorbers, and the steering system was fitted with power steering. During the entire production run of the model, which lasted until 1972, 46,000 Tatra 138 trucks were built and supplied to 98 countries around the world. Various special equipment was mounted on the chassis of the 138 model, including excavators, truck cranes, drilling rigs, tank trucks, fire and military vehicles, as well as the Tatra 138 NT tractor unit. About 6,000 Tatra 138 trucks were exported to the Soviet Union, where they stood out favorably compared to the trucks produced in the USSR at that time. Drivers were especially pleased with the much higher level of comfort these trucks provided, since they had well-adjustable seats, soft suspension, an efficient heater, and good sound insulation. Overall, the ergonomics of the Tatra cab were much better than any Soviet truck of that time, where after hours of work your arms would go numb and your back would ache. But these trucks did have certain drawbacks, which showed up in the difficulty of servicing and repairing the transmission components that were hidden inside the backbone tube frame. So this design was bulky and heavy, and much more complicated to manufacture than conventional ladder frames. That's why all-wheel drive Tatras with their strong backbone frame were most valued in countries with harsh climates and tough off-road conditions, rather than in European countries where the road infrastructure is quite well developed. Among the 6,000 Tatra 138 sent to the Soviet Union, Most were dump trucks, the Tatra 138S1 with rear unloading and the Tatra 138S3 with three-way unloading. The 138 model, thanks to its excellent off-road capability provided by all-wheel drive, an air-cooled engine, and an efficient heater, was mainly used in low-temperature and off-road conditions at the oil fields of Siberia, in mineral extraction in the far north, as well as in the far east. The Tatra 138 conquered not only the cold north with its snowy landscapes, but also the endless expanses of hot Africa. This happened in 1968, when a group of 8 medical university students set out on a humanitarian trip to Africa, specifically to the Albert Schweitzer Hospital in Lambering, Gabon, where they were delivering medicines and medical equipment. For this mission, Tatra engineers built a special vehicle on the Tatra 138 chassis, which was fitted with a living module and a modified suspension. To keep the truck from overheating under the direct rays of the African sun, it was painted a bright silver color. They also installed a dual pedal system in the cab, like in training vehicles, in case the driver fell asleep at the wheel. In total, over the course of the 256-day expedition, the truck covered 35,000 kilometers. Today, this vehicle, called the Tatra 138 Lamernais, is preserved in the Tatra Museum in Coppermist. Since 1969, alongside the production of the 138 family, the factory began manufacturing the new 148 series, which by 1972 had completely replaced its predecessor. The new model received a slightly elongated hood shape with an enlarged air intake grille featuring horizontal ribs. The truck was equipped with a diesel, 8-cylinder, air-cooled engine with an increased displacement of 12.6 liters and a power output of 212 horsepower. Certain technical shortcomings that were present in the previous model were corrected in the Tatra 148. The air intake channels for engine cooling were optimized, and the hood sound insulation was improved. This made it possible to significantly reduce the noise from the running engine. Certain parts of the gearbox, the half axles, and suspension components, which often broke due to overloading, were also reinforced. An interaxle differential was installed between the second and third axles, which helped reduce rear tire wear. Telescopic shock absorbers replaced the lever-tight ones. In accordance with international requirements, the vehicles received more advanced brakes. To increase the dump truck's body capacity, the spare wheel with its frame, previously located behind the cab, was moved under the body and mounted in an inclined position. Comfort was also improved. A new driver's seat with pneumatic suspension was installed in the cab. Most of the technical improvements were primarily aimed at increasing the payload capacity. With an unladen weight of 12 tons, the truck could carry 16 tons of cargo, which was 4 tons more than the previous model. The vehicle consumed about 35 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. The truck's maximum speed was 80 kilometers per hour. The Tatra 148 model remained in production until 1982. A total of 113,647 units were produced. The truck was produced in many different modifications. The Tatra 138 and Tatra 148 became a remarkable chapter in the history of the Coppermist Company, enriching not only Czech but also the global automotive industry.